Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We are just going to give it one more minute to let everybody get in, and we are going to get started. All right, and we are going to go ahead and get started. And we'd just like to begin with a few housekeeping norms. So for a reminder, if you do have a question, please type it into the Q&A below. And as a reminder, the U.S. Small Business Administration does not endorse Public-Private Strategies Institute, and this session is being live streamed and recorded. Finally, please don't share any personal information in the Q&A function. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Rhett Buttle, who is the president of Public-Private Strategies Institute.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. As Sydney mentioned, my name is Rhett Buttle. I'm proud to serve as president of the Public-Private Strategies Institute. And we are so thrilled to be able to continue this important series with the U.S. Small Business Administration, where we're able to reach out, convene, listen to, and hear from small business owners, small business leaders from all across the country. We've been hosting these bi-weekly for almost a year and a half now and continue to do so through the end of the year. And as important moments come and we celebrate important milestones, we like to be able to do that. So let me be first to say happy Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander month. We are so fortunate to be able to celebrate the important contributions that the AA and HPI community makes, not only to all of our society, but in particular, we know what an important role they play in the small business and entrepreneurship ecosystem. I wanted to quickly tell you a little bit about the series today. So if we could move to the next slide, I'll share with you a little bit about what we're going to overview. After we hear from an amazing set of speakers, we're going to hear from Ying McGuire, who leads the National Minority Supplier Development Council. We're going to hear from the president's main liaison from the AAPI community. And then we're also going to hear from many amazing team members from the U.S. Small Business Administration. We'll also have a presentation that makes sure that gives you timely updates about what's going on in DC, what's going on at the U.S. Small Business Administration, and quite frankly, across the whole Biden-Harris administration, so that you can get plugged in. During these briefings, you'll hear a little bit about existing programs that exist at a number of the federal agencies. You'll hear about some updates to important policy and programs, in particular, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Deal, which we know is of interest to a lot of folks. And then we'll also make sure to tackle some timely important policy issues. We know that there's often a lot of questions about tax credits, whether it be on paid leave or the earned income tax credit or healthcare. We'll try to cover as much of that today as we can as possible and engage in some question and answer. So without further ado, we have a lot of folks in the program. It's my pleasure to introduce, if we can move to the next slide, Erica, who is an amazing advocate. She has served both in the advocacy community as well as in the Obama and now the Biden administration, and has always been a fierce advocate, not only for the AA and HPI community, but also since I've known her, an amazing advocate for small business and entrepreneurs. And so we are so thrilled to have her today to kick off this program. And with that, Erica, it's my pleasure to turn the conversation over to you.
Brett, thank you so much. Aloha, y'all, and let me be the second to wish you today a happy Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. This deputy position that I'm honored to serve in that Rhett described was created last year about this time so that a member of the president's senior staff can act as the voice in the West Wing to lift up the perspectives of our AAN and HPI communities in all of our administrations, policies, and stakeholder outreach and engagement. Then as the incumbent, I'm charged with making sure that the richness and diversity of our communities are not made invisible, and that the impacts of the administration's policies are inclusive of, informed by, and communicated to our communities. As you can imagine, it's been a busy last few weeks as we ramped up for AN and HPI Heritage Month, and yet it's been a time for reflection of what we've accomplished and also what we need to keep fighting for. And this is all done with the support of a president and a vice president who've made clear their commitment to empowering and uplifting AAN and HPI individuals, families, and communities since before their first days in office. This includes ensuring that AAN and HPI-owned small businesses, which were hit hard during the COVID-19 economic crisis, are able to grow and thrive. In this past year, under the Biden-Harris administration, our U.S. Small Business Administration has continued scaling up to meet extraordinary challenges and deliver remarkable results for AAN and HPI small businesses across America. As we recover from the pandemic and build a better America, the Biden-Harris administration has worked to advance equity by making long overdue investments in AAN and HPI communities and responding forcefully to the spike in anti-Asian violence and hate. And despite the odds, President Biden's leadership has added 6.4 million jobs, the most in any year in U.S. history, and managed the fastest growing economy in decades while cutting unemployment to near historic lows. The SBA is focused on engaging underserved communities, including Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities, by ensuring that their outreach efforts include leaders, stakeholders, community members, full geographic areas, and businesses themselves. Our nation's 2.6 million Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander small businesses are helping to power our nation's historic economic comeback. More Americans are starting new businesses than ever before. Last year, Americans applied to start 5.4 million new businesses, 20% more than any year on record. This small business boom has been particularly strong for entrepreneurs of color. The Biden-Harris administration's economic agenda laid the foundation for this historic boom by combating the pandemic, providing families with greater financial security, and delivering more than $450 billion in emergency relief to small businesses. The administration's bottom-up approach to recovery has spurred this resurgence. And as we know, many AAN and HPI entrepreneurs have faced some of the greatest challenges and discrimination during the pandemic and continue to struggle. 4 in 10 AAN and HPI small business owners report having been blamed for the pandemic. And according to the National ACE survey, 1 in 4 experienced vandalism or threats. That's one of the many reasons why SBA's Office of Capital Access distributed over $179 billion to Asian American and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander business owners and entrepreneurs last year. The SBA Office of International Trade provided 70 loans to AAN and HPI-owned small business exporters in fiscal year 2021, worth $106.3 million. This represented 11.97% of total loans and 12.41% of total loan dollars, outperforming the 10.2% of employer firms that are AAN and HPI owned. These loans generated $697 million in export sales and supported 968 jobs. We're also ramping up access to training and resources for the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities through the American Rescue Plan, a new $100 billion SBA Community Navigator pilot program deployed trusted community organizations, especially in underserved and underrepresented communities, including AAN and HPI communities, to better connect those business owners to SBA and federal, state, and local resources. Of the 51 grant recipients, 10 have a particular focus on Asian American small business owners, and 7 focus on Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander entrepreneurs. Let me just provide a few specific examples of other programming successes. First, the Small Business Development Centers, one of SBA's resource partners. They've provided training and counseling to more than 20,000 clients who identified as Asian American and more than 3,600 Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander entrepreneurs. Nearly $8 million in funding, about 6% of the SBDC program budget, is allocated to 5 SBDC lead centers that are at Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander serving institutions, and Native Hawaiian serving institutions. SBDCs provide services in 20 languages, including Cantonese, Chinese, Filipino, Korean, Mandarin, Samoan, and Vietnamese. We also have another one of SBA's resource partners, the Women's Business Centers, that have counseled more than 46,000 and trained more than 53,000 Asian and Pacific Islander entrepreneurs. Several of these centers in our network focus on strengthening the entrepreneurial ecosystems of AAN and HPI communities. And notably, in 2021, new investments in AAN and HPI communities were made in the state of California through the WSPCs. SCORE, the SBA's resource partner that has over 250 local chapters and over 10,000 volunteer mentors across the US, publishes resources that are focused on Asian American business owners, such as common challenges and solutions for AN and HPI business owners. And last but not least, Boots to Business is the entrepreneurial education and training program offered by the SBA as a part of the Department of Defense's Transition Assistance Program. Let me just close by quoting President Biden from his National Small Business Week proclamation. For generations, small business owners across America have shaped and embodied our nation's entrepreneurial spirit and driven our economy forward. Today, more than 32 million small businesses employ almost half of America's workforce and represent the heart and soul of countless communities. End quote. Thank you for all that you do for your families, our communities, and for the nation. I'm going to thank you for the opportunity to join me today. And now it is my great honor to introduce Ying McGuire, who is the CEO and president of the National Minority Supplier Development Council, America's most influential and successful minority business development organization. Next year, NMSDC celebrates 50 years of supporting the economic development of more than 14,000 certified minority business enterprises and over 1,500 corporate members. Prior to her appointment at NMSDC, Ms. McGuire served as the Global Vice President of Technology Integration Group, which is a certified minority-owned technology company with 25 offices in the US, China, Canada, and a global partner network covering 4 continents. As a corporate leader at Dell Technologies, a Fortune 500 company, she built and sustains high-impact global initiatives across many functions and mentored numerous entrepreneurs and CEOs. So with that, Ms. McGuire, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Erica. Appreciate your introduction. Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are. My name is Ying McGuire. I am the first AAPI CEO and the president of NMSDC. Our organization serves as a growth engine for minority-owned businesses, including AA and HPI businesses, while enabling our corporate members, there are 1,500 of them, to advance economic equity. We're very honored to be here today to celebrate the important role of business owners like you, business owner of a color, particularly today celebrate AA and HPI businesses and the role you play in our economy today and every day. This morning, we actually released 2021 Minority Business Economic Impact Report. You can go to nmsdc.org to find the latest, the greatest. The report shows that we have 396 billion in economic output annually from NMSDC certified MBEs and sustaining about 1.75 million jobs and supporting 122 billion in wages earned. And the average employee composition at our certified MBEs is 70% minority employees. So talking about creating jobs for the systematically excluded communities of colors. And we have a further breakdown for these numbers. Again, go to nmsdc.org and check it out. But I want to share with you in terms of Asian-owned certified MBEs, we have seen substantial growth over the last 2 years. We saw 31% increase in total revenue and 76% increase in total US jobs and 125% increase in wages earned by US employees. So we look forward to working alongside AAPHNI community to be a voice to connect resources, opportunities, and the capital to ensure equitable access to contracts and the capital for systematically excluded communities of color. Today's a very exciting day. This is a 50th anniversary. So tonight and tomorrow, we're launching our inaugural Minority Business Economic Forum. And now this is the World Economic Forum for minority businesses. Our honorary chair, John Rogers Jr., chairman and the co-CEO of Ariel Investments, is hosting VIP reception tonight. The forum seeks to galvanize a vanguard of chief officers to amplify the impact and influence of MBEs in the American economy, and then really generate corporate spending and the pledges towards 1 trillion in certified MBE revenue. So we launched audacious goal of 1 trillion. And we want to spark actionable solutions, talk about challenges, real solutions, that minority businesses face, and including access to contracts, access to capital, and lack of MBE designation in the federal procurement system, and forge pivotal relationships between MBEs and a corporate C-suite leadership team. I would like to personally invite you to join me virtually. And I think the PPS team gonna drop the link in the chat. Again, you can register the session starting tomorrow for a nominal fee. And then the awards show tomorrow night to recognize the C-suites who's leading the pack in advanced economic equity. That's open to all of you for free. And it will be hosted by the infamous Second City. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, Ying. We really appreciate that. And if you look in the chat, you'll see more information about registration. And also for more about the forum, you'll see that we just dropped in the link as well. So there's more to come about that. Now, let's talk more. If we can go to the next slide. Let's talk more. The next slide, please. Let's talk more about the overview for today and the rest of our discussion. So today we're going to talk about, you can go back one, please. Back one slide. We have three cusps that we're talking about. We're going to talk about updates of the administration. We're going to hear from some exciting speakers. We're going to talk about some resources and information about the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the American Rescue Plan, and also Made in America. And then we're also going to talk about updates that you should know about COVID-19 and becoming a vaccination small business leader in your community. Let's go to that next slide. And so we're going to talk to and from Jerry, who is the regional administrator for Region 5, which is from the Small Business Administration. You're going to hear from Jennifer, the associate administrator of the Office of Field Operations, and then Raju, who is the district director for the Los Angeles District Office. And without further ado, and I don't want to delay any further, I would like to turn it over to Jerry.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm very proud to be a part of this webinar today during Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. As the regional administrator in Region 5 of the United States Small Business Administration, I'm committed to supporting the growth and startup and sustainability of all small businesses, not only in the Great Lakes region, but with my fellow SBA colleagues in all of America. The United States Small Business Administration since 1953 is the only cabinet level federal agency fully dedicated to supporting all small businesses in America through our counseling, capital, contracting, and even our crisis programs, as we've seen the last 2.5 years. We've been guided by a mission to aid, counsel, assist, and also protect the interests of small businesses. As you heard earlier that Erica noted, there's over $179 billion of aid that was specifically allotted by Small Business Administration for COVID pandemic to AAPI, AA, NHPI populations. I'm here to talk to you about the exciting programs that we have outside of the pandemic programs as well. What we also have at the SBA are counseling, free business counseling in person or virtual. We also have funding that's SBA guaranteed to provide affordable and flexible capital for businesses in the community to start up or grow. We also have counseling assistance so that you can develop contracts with the federal government. The federal government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the globe, in the whole country, and actually worldwide as well. We have those assistance for you at the SBA, and as Erica referred to earlier, the small business development centers. We also have crisis support for businesses to recover, not only from situations from the pandemic, but also with situations such as from natural disasters as well. AAPI, AA, NHPI populations are also become one of the most economically divided racial groups with the highest income inequalities. So we understand what the barriers are to access and equity, accessing the programs of SBA as well. For that, SBA is very excited with our equity plan that we've unrolled. With those plans, we are addressing systemic barriers to contracting, to capital, to accessing those markets globally and domestically, and to also address the assistance that's needed systematically, those barriers to access those free assistance through the SBDCs, but also the women's business centers, as Erica noted earlier. We now have a women's business center in every state across America and also Puerto Rico. We're also looking to soon grow them in other territories as well. With the SBA, you can also get the capital you need to start, grow, and expand through our guaranteed loans. Our loan programs are startup friendly. They have competitive terms that are affordable. There's a lower down payment that you would find compared to other conventional loans at banks, and longer payback maturity rates. That means more funding in your pocket to work on your businesses, purchase the equipment that you need, and invest in your workforce. Our other funding programs that we have is we have a guaranteed bonding program. It's similar to our SBA lending programs, but it features an SBA guarantee. It basically increases the bonding capacity so that small businesses can get bigger contracts. In so much as grants, we have innovation grants. There are SBIR and STTR grant programs. These actually are grants for small businesses to partner with stakeholder partners such as in academia, equity investment firms, and others to develop commercial applications through its research and development that would have also a social impact. You can receive up to $1.5 million of grant funds for technology innovation and interest needs as well. We also have equity and non-bank debt financing by the SBA through our SBIC resource network. That's an investment in growing in fast growing small businesses that are actually backed by the SBA. And back to our loan programs, our traditional loan programs, as Erica noted earlier, we actually have surpassed our even traditional loan programs in addition to the $179 billion for COVID aid to AA and HPI businesses. Our 7A loan programs provide up to $5 million in working capital. It's actually one of the most common SBA loans for small business owners. We have a 504 loans for you to purchase property, major equipment, fixed assets, 50% of your loan at a fixed interest rate with payback terms from 5, 10, 20, and 25 years as well. We have our Community Advantage loan program, which has, you can receive up to $350,000 in a loan with less stringent credit requirements. There, you'll hear more from my colleague, Jennifer Kim, about the Community Advantage program and its enhancements. But there's also microloans, realizing that small businesses actually need less than $50,000, many of them, for startup and operating costs. So our microloan programs are another capital program to support small business owners in America. It has not been easy. We know that roughly 1/3 of Asian American businesses were affected by Asian hate, and 58% of Asian small business owners had trouble navigating COVID idle. And with that, as I alluded to earlier, that is what SBA's equity plan is about. We are leaning into addressing and dismantling those systemic barriers so it makes it easier for all small businesses, including AA and HPI businesses, to access the resources that they need through the free counseling that we offer for our research partners, the capital that we have, the contracting, but also when those times occur, the crises programs that we also access. With that, I want to turn it over to my colleague, Jennifer Kim, who is the Associate Administrator of the Office of Field Operations.
Hello, thank you, Jerry, so much. It's so nice to see everybody. Again, my name is Jennifer Kim. I'm the Associate Administrator for the Office of Field Operations. As was alluded to before, SBA, we actually cover quite a bit of area. We have 10 regions and 68 districts, including the territories of Puerto Rico, Guam, the US Virgin Islands, and more. So hopefully wherever you are, there is a local SBA district office that can help you with any of your small business needs. And I am really excited to be here as we celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander American Month. I remember very vividly, I guess 2 years ago now, even before I joined the Small Business Administration, I was out to eat at a restaurant in Koreatown in Manhattan. And it was even before lockdown had officially started, but there was still, rumblings about COVID. And the business I went to eat lunch at in Koreatown was a very popular place where usually there was a line out the door, hard to get a table, but people were already afraid to go to some of our Asian American businesses because of improperly placed racism and fear that some folks, were kind of misdirecting. And I know a lot of our community is still experiencing the ramifications of that, in addition to the economic and health impacts of COVID. So I'm really excited to be joining you all today as we kind of work to move forward beyond the pandemic and from the, from all the bad impacts that have come with that. And it was National Small Business Week just last week, a really good time to celebrate the resilience and the diversity and the scrappiness, I like to say, of our small businesses. So again, if this is your first time learning about the Small Business Administration, or if the first time you learned about us was the Paycheck Protection Program or other COVID relief programs, we're really excited for you to learn even more about us. And thank you, Jerry, for going through, so much of the great programs that we offer. Again, I want to stress we were, very, proud to be able to serve so many folks during the pandemic, but we, realize it's our responsibility to continue to serve and reach even more people. Maybe you actually weren't able to access our pandemic programs. We have other programs that could be available, whether they are our microloan program, our 7A or 504 loans. We are really here to serve America's entrepreneurs because you are really the engines of our economy. One other program I want to highlight is our Community Advantage program. So this is a program specifically targeting the small business needs of underserved communities. We actually announced recently some updates to the program to make it a little more accessible and to serve more businesses. But again, it's just one of many programs that we have available that we hope can meet, your small business needs. In addition to Community Advantage, we have a number of other programs at SBA that maybe you haven't been familiar with that I also want to make sure to highlight as part of our push to increase awareness about SBA's many great programs. So another priority of President Biden and Administrator Guzman is to increase small business representation in contracting. The federal government is one of the largest providers of goods and services in the whole world, actually. And we know that oftentimes small businesses don't have access to those contracts, which are really great tools to grow your business. So we're doing a couple things to try and increase small business representation. And I hope that you and your small business can try to take advantage of them. One is we're working to increase the percentage of small businesses represented in those federal contracts. The other is we're looking to help educate and recruit and help folks through the 8A certification process, which is a designation that helps you access those federal contracts. And again, if you have not been part of this before, this is something that the SBA and your local district office can help you learn more about and get your business ready to join that process. And just the other day, as part of National Small Business Week, I visited a business that was started by a first-generation American, as a restaurant, and just a few years later, with the help of SBA, she's actually expanding her business and also opening a location in an airport, all through the help of the SBA and its business opportunity specialists. So again, that's another opportunity for small businesses that the administrator is prioritizing as we work to implement our equity action plan that Jerry referred to. Again, I think that the key thing I want to stress here is that I know small businesses, you are very strong and resilient, multitasking people, but you don't have to go it alone. I'm going to turn it over to Ben Raju, who is wears many hats at the SBA and also is a part of the White House initiative on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. But he is actually one of our boots on the ground, one of our local folks in LA, and he can talk more about how district offices can help you out. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ben.
Awesome. Thank you, Associate Administrator Kim. It's an honor to be here with so many distinguished speakers as we celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Now, this annual celebration dates back to the 1970s, and as you can see in its name, it recognizes the rich histories and dozens of racial and ethnic groups and subgroups in the United States. It's humbling to be alongside so many amazing A and NHPI women on the panel today. The first Deputy Assistant to the President and Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Senior Liaison, the first Korean American Associate Administrator for SBA's Office of Field Operations, the first Filipina American woman appointed by a president in a regional post. I'll say it again. It is truly an honor to be here today. This year's theme for AA and NHPI Heritage Month is Building Legacy Together, our community's journey, strength and resilience. For centuries, Asian Americans and Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders have shaped and strengthened the fabric of our nation. Yet many AA and NHPI communities continue to face barriers to prosperity and safety, including xenophobic violence, as well as the disproportionate health and economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have seen a lot of progress, but there's still a lot of work to do. As the district director in Los Angeles for the SBA and the national co-chair for the White House Initiative on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders Regional Network, I've had the remarkable opportunity to see firsthand how the federal government stands ready to serve our AA and NHPI community and beyond. As district director, I know I have 67 colleagues in local district offices throughout our country and protected territories with their teams who stand ready to serve our nation's small businesses. Each of you listening today has access to an amazing arsenal of resources and tools right where you are. If you want to start, grow, expand, or need help with resources to recover from disaster, contact your local district office by going to sba.gov/local assistance and simply input your zip code. Whether it's access to capital, contracting assistance, connecting with our amazing resource partners, all of which were talked about earlier, these dedicated individuals are ready to meet you where you are and serve your small business needs. As national co-chair for the White House Initiative on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders Regional Network, also known as the RN, I have the honor to currently serve alongside co-chair Paul Chang and under the first Native Hawaiian executive director in the history of the initiative, Ms. Crystal Kai. The RN is comprised of over 400 federal officials based in 10 federal regions nationwide and is tasked with coordinating outreach efforts and serving as a resource to connect AA and NHPI community stakeholders with federal resources in an equitable and accessible way. The RN takes a whole of government approach to advance equity, justice, and opportunity for AA and NHPI communities. We leverage federal resources and support the expansion of AA and NHPI networks across the country so that our community can reach their full potential. We have addressed head-on the immediate challenges facing AA and NHPI communities, from tackling long-standing health and economic inequities that have been exacerbated by COVID-19 to addressing anti-Asian bias and hate. But our work does not stop there. Our network of regional leads, federal partners, prioritize capacity building, data collection and disaggregation, language access, workforce development, and so much more. These long-standing federal career employees are key to our engagement and the rapid problem-solving abilities of the regional network. In short, the WIAMPI Regional Network connects AA and NHPIs with federal resources everywhere they are. From hubs in California, Hawaii, New York, Nevada, to emerging communities in Texas, Ohio, Georgia, Utah, Minnesota, and everywhere in between. Through these efforts and recognizing the tremendous growth and unique needs within the AA and NHPI communities, the federal government has made great strides to improve the lives of workers, families, and businesses within the community. We're holding virtual roundtables, webinars, conference calls, large convenings, and regional events to bring federal opportunities and resources directly to our communities. If you'd like to learn more, email us at wiampi@hhs.gov. Again, that's WHIAANHPI@hhs.gov. This month, we celebrate our community's journey of resilience and pay tribute to the generations of AA and NHPIs who have paved the way for greater opportunity. I shared with you many of the firsts, but these are not the last. Here's to our shared legacy, our strength and unity. Happy AA and NHPI Heritage Month. Renee, I'll pass it back over to you.
I just feel like we should all stand and applaud Ben, because that was a great way to celebrate AA and PHI Heritage Month. So thank you so much. And thank you all for the amazing work that you do. This was such a great honor to be a part of this webinar to celebrate the Heritage Month. So thank you again. We are now going to talk about some of the other resources that are here for small business owners to assist during this time. So we're going to first start with Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, go into the American Rescue Plan, and then talk about Made in America. And again, these slides will be made available for everyone who's registered. So you'll get this in an email within the next 24 hours. In addition, this is on Facebook. So you can at any point, SBA Facebook here. Wow. Let's go on to the next slide. So the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law was on November 15, 2021. President Biden signed it into law, making it a historic investment of $550 billion into new funds for large infrastructure projects, supply chains, broadband, and drinking water. This is the largest investment in the nation's infrastructure since 1956. This includes $55 billion in projects to deliver clean water to eliminate the nation's lead service line, $65 billion to expand the country's broadband for accessible, reliable, and high-speed internet, $110 billion to repair and rebuild the country's crumbling roads, failing bridges, and focus on climate change mitigation, resilience, equity, and safety, and $90 billion in modernizing the public transit and make large investments in passenger rail since the creation of Amtrak. Let's go to the next slide. This is also have impacts directly to small businesses. It's going to touch virtually every part of Main Street to MLK's to Cesar Chavez ways across the country. This will expand access to tens of billions of dollars to federal, state, and local government contracts. The U.S. Department of Transportation is going to award more than $37 billion in federal contracts to small, disadvantaged business contractors. This is going to support an estimated amount of 700,000 jobs per year. It's going to help small businesses in either hiring new employees, reach new customers, providing universal broadband, and just fostering development of Main Street small businesses in underserved communities. And that's going to also assist with empowering the Minority Business Development Agency, also known as the MBDA, which was recently codified by Congress to continue doing the work in these communities. You can find more information about what these contracts are and accessibility and implementation of the infrastructure law by going to the build.gov website and looking at the guidebook. Next slide, please. So the American Rescue Plan and other tax incentives. The American Rescue Plan also was something that Congress passed in 2021. The CARES Act focused on helping small business owners as well as consumers, and it supported communities that were struggling in the wake of COVID-19. Millions of American workers resided in communities that suffered disproportionately in recent months. The plan provided critical support to those communities. It provided emergency grants, lending, and investments to those hardest hit businesses so they could rehire, retain workers, purchase health and sanitation equipment that they needed, and keep their workers safe, distribute emergency funds both for state, local, territorial, tribal governments, as well as keeping the position for those frontline workers on the job and keeping them safe, and then as well as helping with public transit agencies to avoid layoffs to make sure that disruptions were reduced so that those who needed to get to work were able to do so without being harmed. Let's go on to that next slide. So the American Rescue Plan had two things that we're still seeing. One, the ARP created the Community Navigator pilot program, and then we saw the Family Paid Leave Tax Incentive. So we're gonna just jump into those really quickly. So the American Rescue Plan had the Community Navigator program, and this is a pilot program in which it is designed to reduce barriers that underrepresented and underserved entrepreneurs often face in accessing programs that they need to recover, grow, or start their businesses. We saw at the beginning of COVID, many businesses, unfortunately, especially those communities of color, were kind of unfortunately unable to receive PPP funding. So this program was birthed so that there was a total of 100 million in funding to 51 organizations that were selected in projects that will cover diverse communities across the US, Puerto Rico, and Guam. And these grantees will serve as hubs. They're centralized and they lead organizations that will incorporate spokes and those organizations that have those trusted sort of relationships in their local communities. They're going to connect those small businesses to those critical resources and help them with assistance, including financial, access to capital, contracting, procurement, marketing, operations, and all of those things to ensure that they're not going to get left behind, as we have seen in the past. And if you want to find out more information, you go to the SBA website and go to Community Navigator and their locator, and you can locate a Community Navigator in your community. Let's go into the next slide. So the tax incentive that we're going to talk about is the paid family leave tax incentive. Under this program, employers can offer up to 12 weeks of paid leave, and the leave can be used for one who wants to take care of a family member, maternity or paternity leave with a biological or adopted child or children. And in exchange of offering the leave, employers will receive as much as a 25% tax credit for the amount of wages replaced. This policy is targeted to hourly employees who would not otherwise have had access to paid leave. So again, these are for hourly employees, your for participate slide. Internet. So a bit of delay, Brad. We go to the next slide. So Made in America. Made in America is something new, was launched by the Biden-Harris administration, and it's ensuring the future is made in America by all American workers. It's a launch of a whole of government initiative to strengthen the use of federal procurement to support American manufacturing. This is going to continue building on these implementation efforts and ensure that these ambitious goals aren't just talked about by action. It was basically an executive order established to create an office called Made in America. And within this office, it's part of the White House Office of Management and Budget, so the OMB. And the Made in America office works to implement federal procurement and financial management policy to help carry out the president's vision of a future made in all of America by all American workers. So including minority entrepreneurs and small businesses in every region of our country. And essentially, if you go to the madeinamerica.gov website, you can learn more. But essentially, you really want to make sure you also go to the SBA's website, learn more about becoming a federal contractor, go to SAMS.gov so you can register your business to do business with the government, and then also go to the GSA website as well, so you can also learn about opportunities about federal contracting as well with the federal government. Let's go on to that next slide. So now we're going to finally wrap up with updates you should know about COVID-19 and becoming a vaccination small business leader in your community. And I'm going to apologize again if I freeze. We just know broadband. That's why we're Excited about the implementation of the infrastructure bill because broadband, we need it everywhere, right? So updates you should know about COVID-19. The United States has experienced 5 waves that we know about of the pandemic since 2020, including the past 3 years, we've just seen new variants that keep popping up. We know that more is going to happen and that COVID is not going to go away. So the administration has a website dedicated to keeping up with this information so that you're able to have information at your fingertips so that you know what's going on. And if you go to the whitehouse.gov/COVID plan, you can learn more and what the administration is doing to combat COVID-19. Let's go on to the next slide. And now, how can you as a small business leader do more? Well, get vaccinated and your booster shots. If you're already vaccinated, encourage your employees, family, friends, and neighbors in your community to get vaccinated and make sure that they get their boosters as well. You want to create a vaccination plan for your businesses. How do you do that? You want to review your state and local vaccine policies and seek legal advice. Consider some of the incentives that were offered, like the paid leave tax credit and whatever maybe your state and local policies may offer. If you live in a disproportionately area impacted by COVID-19, the health resources of the and Service Administration has programs that can help provide you some greater assistance. And again, we're going to email this slide deck out to you so that you're able to click the link and have those resources readily available to you. Whether you encourage and incentivize and mandate vaccines, make sure you communicate the plan to your employees both verbally and in writing. And then also continue to follow the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, guidance on whether to wear a mask, social distance, even after all your employees are vaccinated and boosted. And we also have additional resources that you can use to make sure that your plan comes to a whole bow and knot. So with that said, we're going to go into our next slide, which is a Q&A with some of our amazing speakers today. Now, we know there's a lot of questions in the chat, and we're not going to get to all of them, and we cannot answer questions that are specific to your issue. So if you have a COVID EIDL question about your specific loan, we cannot answer that. If you have a question about your EIDL, we cannot answer that. Or we cannot answer particular questions about everyone's issues. But what we can do is answer general questions. So I would love some of our speakers that are still here, if you're able to come back, would love to have you on screen and just throw a couple of quick questions at you. So thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Ben. I think Jennifer is here. She may have been gone. But Jerry, Ben, you guys are in the field. You guys have done a lot of these sort of like one-on-ones, meeting with small business owners across the country, particularly, you know, Ben, you're in LA, Jerry, you're in the Midwest. How can small business owners connect with the SBA, regardless of what region they're in, for resources and assistance?
Jerry, you want to go with that one?
Let's start with, yeah, you know, either one.
Yeah, or I can.
What you can do is on our website at SBA.gov, there's a local assistance navigator where you can type in what your zip code is. And it's SBA.gov /local-assistance. That's SBA.gov /local-assistance to find the aid and resources near you. When you do that, you can find the geographic area by distance of zip code of a small business development center, a women's business center, even a veterans business opportunity center to get that assistance that you need.
And the amazing part of that is that your district office and your local resource partners are there to be able to help you. If nothing else, if we don't take away anything else from today's call, get to know your local district office. They're your tool, they're your advocate, they're your resource to be able to connect you with this arsenal of resources to be able to help. I know that there were some questions directly in the box about connecting with a local district office in Louisville, Kentucky. I know we had questions about connecting with our district offices in Dallas, and we have amazing folks that are each in Hawaii and in different areas to be able to connect with. And what Jerry said, and it's in the chat box now, sba.gov/local assistance, that's your connection to all of those resources. And Renee, you mentioned community navigators, as did Erica, as did Rhett. These are amazing folks that are there to be able to help support you and start your small business, as well as answer the questions and provide in-language support, provide different resources to be able to connect you with these tools. And those resource partners, community navigators, women's business centers, all those things are just that ecosystem that's at your disposal to be able to do it. And it was said earlier, you're not alone. I know it's challenging, right, with all of these businesses that are facing different challenges and different obstacles, whether it's starting your business, whether it's that thing called COVID, whether it's that thing called financing, whether it's different things to be regulations, different things. It really is a challenge to be able to do this, but you're not alone. And there are many resources to be able to be there to be able for you to be able to be successful.
I want to add to what Ben said. You do want to reach out to your local district office. And the reason being is that they're going to help you build your bench. They're going to help you build your team of supporters as convened by the SBA, of your no-cost advisors, your mentors, people you can actually help find that accountant, people who can help you find that lawyer that you need. They're going to help build your back office support and also the funding capacity that you need to manage your cash flow and your business financials. It is more than just a one-person connection through the district office. What they're going to do is actually say, here's your bench. Let's help you build your team of our no-cost advisors and funders who can help. There won't be no-cost funders, but they're funders who will help you get affordable financing that will actually help you understand how to increase your profit margins. Not just do business like a lemonade stand, as many AE and HPI businesses, we're so still caught in this idea of operating our businesses as a hobby. And we, as many of us are immigrant-based businesses, first, second, third, even fourth generation. What the SBA will do, and as I said earlier, to help every small business owner in America. And this rings true of our equity principles and our values, no matter what your status is, we are there to help you, and we're there to help you build your bench.
Well, I mean, you guys are really, truly so helpful. You really do help people regardless of status, and try to really do build benches by every sense of the term. And with that, what about language? Sometimes languages are barriers for people to find assistance. How does the SBA work with those who may not be English as a first language who are seeking assistance?
That's an amazing question, Renee. And it is amazing that we have so many different resource partners. First of all, our district offices have different language capabilities in-house within our folks. And we try and be reflective of the districts that we're serving. In Los Angeles, we have folks that speak a variety of different languages, but we wouldn't be able to do the work that we do without our resource partners. We have amazing folks. I've got folks like the API Small Business Program, who I see some of our folks are on the call here today. Ron and his team over there speak a variety of different languages, as well as our Pacific Asian Consortium of Employment. They are a micro lender, they're a women's business center, they're an MBDA center, they're an employment center, and they speak like 19 different languages in-house. So we have resource partners throughout the country that are able to connect you with these different resources. Our website is translated into a variety of different languages. You can have Spanish access by going to our website, as well to many of our documentation. Throughout the COVID pandemic, we translated into multiple different languages. I think it was like something like 17 different languages, of having all the information there and available and accessible to folks. The agency provided in-language throughout the COVID pandemic, whether it's on PPP, on EIDL, on the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, in-language webinars to our AA and NHPI community to be able to make sure that the information was there and accessible to our folks. No, I did a lot of them, so I know that they were there and available, and we look forward to continuing that and that level of engagement with our small business community as we continue to grow. I know we didn't talk a lot about international trade today, but I know a lot of our AA and NHPI business owners, and we had some questions about that. International, a majority of the buyers are outside of this country. And we're made in the USA is the best brand out there, right? Hands down, point blank period, my unbiased opinion. But it is one of the tools that we have to be able to diversify our revenue stream, right? So we have different revenue streams to be able to support our businesses, whether it's a downturn in the economy, if there's recession, if there's different things, being able to diversify that. International trade, government contracting, right? That's another amazing resource. I know there's some questions about how to be able to do business with the government, how to be local, whether it's local, federal, state. Your district offices, as Jerry said, is that conduit and that resource to be able to help you get prepared and get your business into that mode where, and I know we've all suffered through the pandemic. I don't think that there's a business out there that can say that the pandemic didn't impact them, but now it's our time to thrive, right? And the SBA is your partner there to be able to help you through that journey.
Wow, thank you. Well, I think we should depart with one last question for both of you because our time is almost up. And I just want to let everyone know that Congresswoman Judy Chu unfortunately had a scheduling conflict and sadly cannot be here, but she sends her regards and wishes she could be here with you all today and will hopefully be with us next time. But my last question for everyone on our panel here today is, what is one piece of small business advice you would have to our small business owners here today? We'll start with you, Jerry.
Yeah, I think one piece of advice is to make sure you work with SBA and its resource partners so that you're actually a business on paper. One of the troubling things that we saw during the pandemic, which really was an indicator of the disparities prior to the pandemic, was a lot of small businesses, including AA and HPI businesses, were not prepared to access and absorb the capital that was out there, even though they were operating as businesses. And so we really encourage you to work with your district offices, get that assistance that you need, and become that actual business on paper, and your paperwork is organized as well. And oftentimes that can be challenging. And again, this is where we come in at the SBA as being your team to help you build your bench with the no-cost advisors and counselors to do that. And you don't have to do it alone. And I think that's one of the most daunting things are some of the laborious tasks of small business, but it's also one of the most important tasks is, how to make sure that you're also a business on paper.
And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that I can tell our business owners is to get to know the SBA. We're that advocate, we're that tool, our partners. If we're not able to have the answers directly, we can help you find them. The local assistance tab, I know we have an amazing resources in our resource partners to be able to connect you with different things, but that gateway, that conduit is your local district offices to be able to help you serve you. And as Jerry and others pointed out today, whether you're in the Hawaiian Islands and our Pacific territories and Puerto Rico, whether you're in Chicago, whether you're in the Midwest, the Plains, on either coast, district offices are there to be able to help support you and be able to provide you with the resources and access to the information that you need. Take the time, if nothing else, get to know them, get to know the resources that are out there. SBA.gov is an amazing tool. If you're a woman-owned small business, and I don't want to leave without talking about two things, our women-owned businesses and our veteran-owned businesses. Our AA and NHPI community of women entrepreneurs and veteran entrepreneurs that are out there, they're an amazing backbone to our economy and support infrastructure to our country in so many different ways. And the SBA has resources, whether it's through our women's business centers, whether it's through our district offices, to be able to serve and serve you after you've served our country for our veteran entrepreneurs and for our women entrepreneurs to be able to provide tailored services, to be able to make sure that you have the resources in a way that you're comfortable with receiving it. And the SBA is designed to be able to help all of our entrepreneurs navigate those resources. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, Renee, and thank you to PPSI for pulling this all together.
Thank you guys so much. I want to thank all of our speakers today. We want to thank you all so much, the SBA, PPSI. If you have any SBA related questions, please email to answerdesk@sba.gov. If you have any questions about a copy of this webinar, please feel free to contact events@publicprivatestrategies.com. And with that, we will see you on May 25th at 2 p.m. Eastern for our next webinar. Thank you guys so much and have a great weekend. Bye.